Dear seeker, before we begin, I would like to invite you into a small moment of stillness. Not to escape the world, but to arrive more fully within it. Just notice your breath as it moves in and out. Nothing to change. Nothing to fix. Simply to be here. We live in a remarkable age. In your hand, you carry a device that can connect you to almost every human being on Earth. With a simple swipe, you can see distant lands, hear different voices, and learn new ideas. Yet, quietly and gently, many people are also discovering that they feel more anxious, more restless, and more lonely than ever before. The screen promises connection, but often leaves us with a deeper sense of separation. Long before smartphones, Zen masters observed something very similar. They noticed how the human mind is always reaching for pleasure, for reassurance, for distraction, for meaning. Today, social media has become a powerful mirror of this ancient tendency. It offers endless novelty, endless comparison, and endless stimulation. And the mind, untrained, becomes lost in it. Zen does not judge this. It does not call it weakness. It simply calls it suffering caused by unconsciousness. When we scroll without awareness, we are not choosing, we are being pulled. Our attention, which is the most precious resource we have, is gently taken from us one moment at a time. In this video, we will explore how social media captures the mind, and how Zen wisdom shows us a compassionate way back. Not through rejection of technology, but through a return to presence. Not by fighting desire, but by understanding it. This is not a lesson in discipline. It is an invitation to wake up. Let us walk this path together, slowly, kindly, and with clarity. In Zen, the root of much of our suffering is not the world itself, but our relationship to desire. The ancient teachings speak of tanha, a quiet thirst inside the mind that is always reaching for something more. We want comfort. We want approval. We want to feel seen, safe, and important. This is not a flaw. It is simply the human heart trying to protect itself. Social media understands this deeply. Each notification, each like, each new video gives the mind a small taste of anticipation. Modern neuroscience calls this dopamine. Zen simply calls it craving. It is not the pleasure that keeps us scrolling, but the promise of pleasure. The next image might be better. The next message might make us feel valued. The next post might finally satisfy the emptiness we feel. Yet satisfaction never arrives. The moment a desire is fulfilled, a new one quietly takes its place. Zen Master Dogen wrote, "To study the self is to forget the self." But social media encourages us to study the self endlessly, our appearance, our opinions, our status, our popularity. We begin to measure our worth by numbers on a screen. Slowly, the mind becomes restless, always wondering if it is enough. The phone itself is not the problem. It is only a mirror. It reflects our ancient hunger to be acknowledged and loved. When that hunger is unconscious, it turns into addiction. When it is seen clearly, it begins to soften. Zen does not ask us to destroy desire. It asks us to look at it gently. When you notice the urge to scroll, pause and observe it. Feel the wanting in the body, the tightness, the anticipation. In that moment of awareness, something beautiful happens. You are no longer lost in craving. You are awake to it. And in that awareness, the chain begins to loosen. One of the great promises of social media is connection. With a single tap, we can see the faces, thoughts, and lives of people across the world. And yet many hearts feel more isolated than ever before. Zen teaches that not all contact is connection. True connection requires presence, a meeting of two beings in the same moment, with open attention. Thich Nhat Hanh often reminded his students that the most precious gift we can offer another person is our full presence. When we are truly present, we are not thinking of what to say next. We are not checking our phone. We are not comparing. We are simply here, listening, seeing, and feeling. In that space, something healing happens. Social media, however, trains us to interact without presence. We scroll through hundreds of lives without really meeting any of them. We react with emojis instead of empathy. We leave comments instead of offering understanding. We watch instead of participating. Slowly, we begin to feel invisible, even while being constantly seen. Zen calls this a kind of spiritual hunger. The heart longs to be met, but the mind keeps offering it images instead of intimacy. This is why even after hours of scrolling, we may feel strangely empty. The problem is not that we are connecting online. The problem is that we forget how to connect inside. We forget to feel our own breath. We forget to notice our own emotions. We forget to look deeply at the people beside us. When we return to the present moment, even briefly, something shifts. A conversation becomes warmer. A smile becomes real. A silence becomes meaningful. Zen gently reminds us that life is not happening on the screen. It is happening here, in this breath, in this body, in this moment. And when we are truly here, we are never truly alone. Zen often compares the mind to a quiet lake. When the water is still, it reflects the sky, the trees, and the moon with perfect clarity. But when the water is disturbed, even the most beautiful reflection becomes broken and distorted. In the same way, the human mind is naturally clear, spacious, and calm. It is only when it is constantly stirred that it becomes confused and tired. Social media throws countless stones into this inner lake. Every post, every headline, every image, and every opinion creates a small ripple. One ripple is not a problem, but thousands of them, arriving without pause, turn the water into a storm. The nervous system was never designed to process so much emotional and informational input at once. We may not notice it at first, but over time the mind becomes overstimulated. We feel anxious for no clear reason. We feel irritable, distracted, and unable to rest. Even when we try to relax, the mind keeps replaying what it has seen. Zen calls this a scattered mind, a mind that has lost its center. Shunryu Suzuki gently said, "You are perfect as you are, and you could use a little improvement." But the digital world rarely offers such kindness. It constantly shows us what we are not. Better bodies, better lives, better success. The mind becomes exhausted not because it is weak, but because it is endlessly comparing and chasing. Zen does not demand that we shut out the world. It only invites us to create space within it. When we pause, breathe, and return to this moment, the ripples begin to settle. Slowly, clarity returns. And in that stillness, the mind remembers its natural peace. In Zen, attention is not just a mental skill. It is a sacred act. Where you place your attention is where you place your life. Each moment of awareness is like a small lamp, gently illuminating whatever it touches. When attention is scattered, life feels fragmented. When attention is gathered, life becomes whole. Social media is not truly competing for your time. It is competing for your awareness. The more your attention is pulled outward, the less you feel connected inward. This is why, after long periods of scrolling, even though nothing difficult may have happened, you can feel strangely empty. Your mind has been everywhere, but your heart has been nowhere. The Tao Te Ching says, "To the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders." Stillness is not the absence of activity. It is the presence of clarity. When attention rests gently in the present moment, you begin to notice things that were always there: the rhythm of your breath, the weight of your body, the quiet emotions moving inside you. But the scrolling mind is trained to jump. One image, then another. One emotion, then the next. The nervous system never fully settles. Even when the phone is put down, the mind keeps reaching for stimulation. Zen calls this restless seeking. Zen practice does not require us to reject technology. It only asks us to use it consciously. Each time you open your phone, you can pause for one breath and ask, "Am I choosing this, or am I being pulled?" That single moment of awareness returns your power. When attention comes home to the present, even ordinary moments become rich. A sip of tea becomes warm. A step becomes grounding. A breath becomes alive. This is the quiet miracle Zen offers, not more information, but more presence. Zen does not fight addiction. It understands it. Where there is craving, there is usually pain, boredom, loneliness, or fear quietly waiting to be noticed. Social media becomes a place where the mind goes to avoid these uncomfortable feelings. Zen gently invites us to turn toward them instead. The first step is awareness. Before the hand reaches for the phone, there is a small moment, a subtle urge, a tightening in the body, a feeling of restlessness. Most of the time, this moment is passed over. We scroll without knowing why. Zen practice is simply to notice. This is wanting. Nothing more is required. The second step is non-judgment. When we judge ourselves for scrolling too much, we create more tension. That tension then seeks relief, often through more scrolling. Zen teaches kindness toward our own mind. Just as a tired child needs care, not criticism, a restless mind needs understanding, not punishment. The third step is return. Return to the breath. Return to the feeling of the body sitting or standing. Return to the sound of the room around you. These small acts bring the mind back from the screen into the living world. Thich Nhat Hanh taught that mindfulness is not about controlling the mind, but about befriending it. Each time you notice the urge and gently come back to the present, you weaken the habit. Not through force, but through clarity. Slowly, something shifts. The phone no longer feels like an escape. It becomes just a tool. And you, the one who is breathing here and now, become the one in charge again. When the mind begins to rest again in the present moment, something very gentle and very profound takes place. At first, it may feel unfamiliar. The quiet can seem strange, even uncomfortable. But slowly, as the constant pull of stimulation loosens, a deeper kind of aliveness starts to appear. You begin to notice simple things. The feeling of your breath entering and leaving the body. The subtle movements of your thoughts. The quiet emotions that were once drowned out by noise. Zen teaches that awareness itself is healing. When we see clearly, without distraction or judgment, the mind naturally begins to settle. Zen Master Huangpa said, "If you would only stop seeking, you would see it." What he meant is that peace does not come from adding something to your life. It comes from removing what was never needed. The endless checking, the comparing, the craving to be entertained, these slowly fall away when awareness returns. With less noise inside, your relationships become warmer. You listen more deeply. You speak more gently. You are not always reaching for your phone, because you are finally touching your own life. Creativity begins to flow again. Ideas arise not from stimulation, but from stillness. Joy appears in ordinary moments, a cup of tea, a quiet morning, a simple walk. These things were always here, but now you can feel them. Zen does not promise a perfect life. It offers a real one. A life where you are present for your own experience, rather than watching it through a screen. And in that presence, there is a quiet freedom. A freedom that does not depend on likes, views, or notifications, but on simply being here, alive, and awake. Dear Seeker, as we come to the end of this journey together, I would like to invite you once more into a small moment of stillness. Not to achieve anything. Not to improve anything. Simply to feel yourself here, breathing, alive in this moment. You may have noticed that nothing we spoke about today was truly new. Deep inside, you already know when you are present and when you are lost. You already feel the difference between living and scrolling, between being here and being elsewhere. Zen does not give you a new life. It simply helps you return to the one you already have. You were never meant to be constantly stimulated. Your nervous system was designed for birdsong, for conversation, for the rhythm of walking, for the quiet of the evening. When the world becomes too loud, it is not because you are weak. It is because you are human. Each time you choose to pause instead of scroll, you are not missing out. You are remembering yourself. Each breath you take with awareness is a small act of freedom. And over time, these small moments gather into a life that feels spacious, grounded, and real. You do not have to delete every app. You do not have to change everything at once. Zen always begins with one simple step: noticing. Noticing your breath. Noticing your thoughts. Noticing the quiet longing inside that is simply asking to be seen. May you treat that longing with kindness. May you offer your own mind the same gentle care you would offer a dear friend. And may you discover, in the stillness beneath the noise, that you were always whole. Thank you for walking this path with me. May your attention become your sanctuary, and may your life unfold in peace.